Hello guys, and welcome back to Silks Detailing, and in today we are looking at 4K detail. Now, I took advantage of a fantastic Easter offer where I paid $1.99 for 500ml of shampoo. Well, I actually bought two. But today we're going to have a look at some of these products. I couldn't get many of them because by the time I saw the sale, most of the products were already out of stock. So we've got shampoo, two different types, we'll use one. We have got Slick, which is a spray wax. Supercharged, which is the paint sealant, so you apply this product while the paint is wet. So what I'm going to try to do is try not to get too much cross contamination, so during the rinsing stage after the wash I'm going to try and do half the car with the supercharged, and I'm going to try and do half the car with Slick and just see if there's any sort of compatibility between, or comparability between the protection and the gloss levels. Now, one thing I would say is neither product actually say how long it's planned to last or protect the paint for, so maybe 4K could look at updating the labels at a later date and just put some sort of time of how long they predict that they'll last on the car. We then have Shadow, which is an interior dressing, and we have Initiate, which is the pre-mix ready to use citrus pre-wash. So you've seen the car already, some tossers mowing or something. Let's get on with the car. Now, one thing I didn't mention is I haven't actually got any wheel cleaning products from 4K, so I'm going to clean the wheels up and then I'll bring you guys over when we start the pre-wash. And I've got a little helper today in the way of Hamish. Say hello. Say hello. More interested in the dogs barking in the background. Let's get on with this wash. So now the wheels are all clean, they're all done, all dusted. Now I don't actually have any snow from 4K, and I think I'm going to have to adjust how I was going to record this video. The sun is now, it's out quite a lot. The other side of the car is really quite warm, so I'm sat down here in the shade. And we're going to start with Initiate, which is the citrus pre-wash. Now this is a dry panel, although there is a little bit of overspray here from rinsing off the wheels. So what I'm going to do is, just to see how good this is, bring the camera in a little bit closer, spray this panel on the dry panel and just see if it lifts and see how it reacts on the dirt and grime on this panel. So I'll give it a spray, bring the camera in a little bit closer so hopefully you can see what's going on, and then I'll finish doing the rest of the car. But this little clip here is really just to show you guys if this lifts this dirt off this car. Okay, so with the car dwelling in the background, I'm going to be using 4K Jelly Bean suds. Now it doesn't say how much to use, it just says apply a small amount into a bucket. So I've got my wash bucket with my grit guard. Just do a solid glug and let's froth it up. Super sudsy. Let's rinse down the car and let's get it cleaned. Okay, so the car is washed and it is wet. So what I'm going to do, because I've got the sun on the passenger side of the car, I'm going to apply the 4K supercharged to the left hand side of the car, or the driver's side of the car, which is in the shade. And just to show you, there's no protection left on this car. White's probably not the ideal colour to really show this, but the water's hanging around. So what I'm going to do is cover up the right side to try and reduce the overspray, and then try the supercharge and see how much of a difference it makes. Now this is simply spray on, let it bond to the paint and wash off or rinse off. So we'll just give that a few moments and then we'll rinse that down, and like I say, I'll do the whole car with the supercharged and then the other side of the car with the wax, and then we'll see if there's any sort of difference between the level of protection. So let's rinse this off. I'm hoping if I just zoom that in a little bit over that side, you can see there is now some level of protection. And what I'll do is I'll let it bond a little bit longer to the rest of the car. There is some there. Let's go. Okay, so on to the last product we're using today, and that is Slick from 4K. So this is their spray wax. So what I'm going to do is do this side of the car with the spray wax. What I'm going to show you is the application onto this side of the bonnet. I then wet both sides because this has the supercharge, which is the paint sealant, and then we'll see if there's any difference between the level of protection and see if we can see any difference in the level of gloss. Now it's hard to tell on a white car how much gloss has been applied by each product, but nevertheless we'll see how we get on. So I'm just going to bring the camera down slightly and we'll apply the wax to this side of the car. Okay, now with this application it is simply spray on, spread and buff. So apply a few squirts and spread it across. Then we'll swap cloths and buff. Okay, so I've washed the car, got it all nice and clean, and now just for you guys I'm going to get it all wet again. So let's not forget, the driver's side has the paint sealant and the passenger side has the wax. So let's see if there's any sort of difference between how they perform. I hope you guys can see that. Zoom in a bit. Now in my opinion, from what I can see, the wax side sheets off a lot quicker than the sealant. The wax definitely performs better on the paintwork compared to the paint sealant. But on the flip side of that, there is one thing I want to show you which I did notice when rinsing the car. So in the shootout between these two products on the paint, the wax definitely wins. But let me take you to the back of the car. The reason I brought you to the back of the car is when rinsing the car, I noticed just how well the sealant performed on the windows. Now I don't know whether that's because I've done a further application in terms of detarring, which has meant the wax has performed better than the paint sealant because I've done that after the initial wash and rinse stage. Maybe I should have adapted my approach and rinsed, detarred, washed and rinsed again and then applied the paint sealant. But this is how well it performs on glass. It just doesn't hold on to the water at all. Now, one of my favourite products to use is a water sealant on the windows, because I just love watching the water behaviour. And for me, I could quite happily stand here for most of the day just squirting water on this window. Done with the car, and it's looking quite good for now. So let's have a look at the products and let's see what we think. So we used the Jelly Bean suds today. I'm assuming Sweet Shop suds will act the same. They're both got the same descriptions. They're both, or they're very thick in terms of their consistency. Suds up really well. The one thing I would say about it though, it didn't have as much lubrication as what other shampoos might have, or which I've used in the past. But the scent carries through. I mean, it looks appealing, it's fun to use, it's really enjoyable to use. It just doesn't have as much lubrication as what other shampoos have got, but nonetheless it cleans really well. So great products overall. And when you think about the cost as well, I paid £1.99 for each of these in the sale. I'm sure about £8 normally, but even still, you're not going to use all of this shampoo in one go. I mean, you've seen pour this today, and there's hardly any gone out of it. The one thing I would say is though, it just says a dollop or a glug. You know, if we're going to be comparing it to other brands, other products, some sort of direction around amount would really go a long way for future use of this product. But nonetheless, great cleaning product, and I'd use it again in the future. Let's go on to shadow. So this is the interior dressing. I didn't record it. There's not really much to say about an interior dressing. It has a nice finish, a nice OEM finish. It wasn't greasy, it wasn't gloss, so you know, it wouldn't reflect the sun. It cleaned really well, didn't leave any sort of silicone sort of residue behind, and it has a nice fragrance, kind of a bit of a coconut sort of scent to that one. Let's go on to initiate. So this was a citrus pre-clean. Now, as you can see, I used this on half the car, and I've used, you know, the equivalent of half a bottle here. These are great products. I really enjoy a citrus pre-clean. One which was probably dilutable is probably one which would be more keen on buying in the future, but nonetheless, I hope the camera picked it up. Once you sprayed this onto the panel, it lifted the dirt straight away and started pulling it away from the panel, making that, you know, contact wash a lot safer and reducing the risk of future damage and swirls to the car. Good product. I would say it needs to be concentrated though, so you can dilute it, or which you have to buy bigger bottles, but it's not a cost-effective way to use the citrus pre-clean. Now let's go on to supercharged and slick. So supercharged is the paint sealant which you apply to the car while it's wet, and then obviously spray wax you apply once you've dried the car. Supercharged, it works, it does add protection. Neither product say how long the protection lasts for. It just wasn't as impactful as maybe I was expecting. So some of the other products, such as Dual Flex, the moment you rinse it off, it's instant beads, the water goes crazy. Although this did add protection, it wasn't as obvious or as exaggerated as what other products are. And then when I compared the two products side by side, the sheeting behaviour of slick definitely outweighed the sheeting behaviour of supercharged, and it'd be interesting to see how long they do last under general weather conditions. But saying that, how this behaved on glass was really impressive. So I don't know whether I should have, like I said while I was using it, changed my method of application and it maybe would have performed better. But out of the two, if I was going to apply one to the car, it would be slick. Nonetheless though, the range is really enjoyable to use. It's eye-catching. The triggers aren't too bad. I like all the different colours. It just makes it more appealing when you got it on your shelving. And it's cheap and affordable. And for me, they're a local brand, and I do quite like to support the local brands around the area. So yeah, good products overall. So just to finish this video off, guys, a massive thank you to each and every one of you. I really do appreciate the fact that you take time out of your day to watch these videos. I know they might not be the greatest out there, but it is a learning curve for me, and I do plan to develop and make them better as I go on and grow confidence in standing in front of this camera and showcasing different products to you guys. For me, it's all about learning, and that's all I need it to be, just to learn and develop my own skills. So in the future, if you do plan to subscribe to the channel, I would really appreciate it. It doesn't cost you guys anything, but it does mean a hell of a lot to me, just to know that you guys are out there supporting. Thanks for watching, guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the future video.